Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold. My agent just said we made 100 flat. Make it back and make it stack, this like no Steven Jack. Put my rings up in the camera like I needed that. Up in the air and at the rim is where I meet them at. Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Good morning. Welcome to another edition of I'm Not Gonna Hold You, man. It is Monday, September 15th, 2025. Thank you for joining us on the first official morning edition of the show. Last week we did it because it was Monday Night Football and I had to be at the stadium earlier. So this is the first official. If you missed the announcement on Friday, every Monday throughout the NFL season, that is going up to the Super Bowl. And we will be doing, I'm Not Gonna Hold You, at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. on Central Time, and that is 7 a.m. on the West Coast. We're doing this because, you know what I'm saying, we got a lot of engagement on this last week. I know a lot of y'all work. You need something to hold y'all down. And we give our instant reactions to the day prior's action in the NFL, and we can get you ready for Monday Night Football, man. So, to follow me on all social media platforms at Barbchair Scott. You can follow the Barbers Chair Network at Barbers Chair Co. on all social media platforms. Follow our partners, HMB Media, and at HMB Media TV on Twitter and at HMB Media. And of course, follow the show on social media. I'm Not Gonna Hold You at INGHY Show on Twitter and Instagram. And while you are at it, subscribe to the Patreon, man. Patreon.com/Barbers Chair Network. If you are watching this on smart TV, iPad, or computer screen or whatever, you can take your phone right up to the QR code, scan it. It'll take you up to the Patreon main page for all our different tiers up on there. Get a whole bunch of exclusive content, get a lot of the content before it hits the free feeds and things like that. And and if you're listening to this on the podcast form, if you on your phone, the link is in the description box. And the same thing goes for my YouTube channel, man. Subscribe there. We got 361 subscribers right now. I'm trying to get up to 500 by the end of the season. We starting this channel up from the ground up. So I appreciate everybody who has subscribed and, done their thing, man. So right now I'm going to bring in my co-host for the morning, man, the one and only JR Bang. I'm also produced by myself too, so I'm looking for these buttons. But Bang, what's going on, bro?
I'm feeling good, feeling great. How y'all doing this morning?
Despite the elephant in the room, which you're going to get into in a minute here on the show, I feel pretty good. One thing I like about the NFC North, it's not long travel days. So I left for Detroit Saturday afternoon and got back yesterday around 10:30. So shout out to Detroit. Detroit is one of the cities that, a lot of people make jokes about, but it's actually I bang with Detroit. I'll be going to Detroit for like 20-some years because I got family out there. So it's always appreciated. I don't have to buy a hotel, so that is always nice. But I'm feeling good, ready to talk some NFL here on this Monday morning, man. So shout out to everybody watching. We already got people in the chat. Orlando says Ryan Poles might be the worst GM I've seen in Chicago sports, and that is a long list. We're gonna get into Mr. Ryan Poles in just a minute. Romo's Barber inside, I got fam in Chicago, so it sucks to lose, but I'd be a fat phase on live. I said I didn't look forward to these Monday rants. Well, I don't know about a rant that you're gonna get here. If you want rants, I'll probably watch the video that we have immediately after. But also, when you get 52 points put on your head top, it's kind of hard to be mad right away. Now, there was a point in this game where I looked sick. Shout out my boy Gino. Stay humble for those of y'all know him. The Bigs. Gene and Herb were sitting right next to me. And there was a point in the second quarter where I looked like my dog got shot. And Gene looked at me and said, "Hey, CEO, you good?" Looked like I wanted to jump into the crowd, man. But after a while, when it's a blowout, things start coming in perspective, man. But let's just get right into it here on the local hours. We're gonna start the show.
It is the local hour. The local hour.
And we go. He said no singing on y'all niggas today. But we gotta start off, man, with the horrendous performance yesterday that I witnessed live at Ford Field, which, in my opinion, is a very underrated football experience. The fans out there are great. It is loud as hell up in there. Those times I couldn't hear myself think. It was so damn loud, man. So I got to give it up to them over there. But this defense, we got to talk about this defense, man, because this Chicago Bears defense was terrible, man. As a team, I'm trying to look up the actual total yards. I think they gave like over 400 total yards of offense, 5 touchdowns for Jared Goff. He went 23 of 28. There was a point in this game where it looked like he was just, out there just getting cardio. It felt like he was playing Madden rookie. My man had so much space, so much time. I've never seen him look that comfortable. The running game was great. Jahmyr Gibbs had a touchdown. David Montgomery had a touchdown. And it looked like this was the real, get right game. As we've said on this show, as our guy Jason Goff, who came on this show last year, a couple times last year, he said the Bears are the get right homecoming game. That's exactly what this was. We all said on Friday that Detroit needs this game way more than the Bears do. And they went out there and showed it. But this defense, man, and on top of the injuries, we got to talk about that. The injuries, not good. Jalen Johnson and TJ Edwards made their season debuts in here after missing game 1 with a groin and a hamstring injury, respectively. Both of those guys left the game early with the same injury. Now, to me, that tells me they came back too fast. And we haven't gotten an injury report. Nobody even asked. We asked Ben yesterday, but he just said, the usual coach speak about, we got to find out. So I'm guessing we'll find out about those injuries on Tuesday or Wednesday. The players are not in the building the next 2 days. They're not in there today, and they're off on Tuesday. They'll be back on Wednesday. I'll be up on Wednesday. So if you ask me, I think both are going to IR. That's just my educated opinion of somebody who does not have a doctorate, but I'm gonna guess it's gonna go on IR, and you're gonna be without both of them for a long time. TJ, I couldn't really see his impact that much. The defense fell apart to me when Jalen went out, especially when he went out, he actually made a great pass block that ended a drive for the Detroit Lions. So this looked Mel Tucker erish to me. Bang, what's your opinion on the defense and their performance last night? Do you think it's a matter of this is they're this bad, or was there a level of quit here that you saw from this defense?
I don't want to say it was a level of quit, because I think that the defense, with or without those players, had a lot to be desired. You have no defensive line push. Outside of a couple of joints from Gavon Dexter last week, this defensive line has not really had a push. We consistently talk about where's Montez Sweat, Grady Jarrett, first 2 games. We haven't really seen it. In fact, it was one play, I think with Jahmyr Gibbs yesterday, I think it was in the 3rd or the 4th, where Grady got a good push, but Gibbs went right behind him on the side of him. So defensively, it wasn't no quit. Just don't think we have the players. Now, when you do add JJ being out, you have Amon, a.k.a. on the right, St. Brown, who torched the Bears and who loves to torch the Bears, had extra ammunition to torch the Bears. Jameson Williams, who seems to get loose on the Bears every time they play. I don't think it was quit. I just think that this team, especially this defense, does not have the talent to compete with the Detroit Lions currently right now. You barely even heard from the linebackers. So no, I don't think it was quit. Just think it was talent.
I'm gonna push back just a tad. I don't think it was a quit thing, like they quit the entire game, but I do believe there was a point in that game where they gave up. I believe in the first, I believe early in the third. First of all, I just gotta say about the call, and for some, what I've noticed about the internet, not that I haven't noticed it, but what I've really noticed over the last 2 years of me taking media seriously as a career, is that a lot of y'all just like to argue, and what I mean by y'all is not the amazing viewers of the show, but people who just like to argue in comments for the sake of arguing and don't actually watch the actual content. Somebody said I was blaming the refs yesterday. I was like, no, dumbass. I said right before I said the comment, I said obviously this is not the reason the Bears lost. When you put up 52 points and lose by 31, you lost because of a multitude of reasons. But that was also the worst call I've ever seen in my life. Now, they tried to explain it to us, said when his knee went down, it's a 10-second runoff. Well, that doesn't make a lick of sense to me. The man was out of bounds. The clock kept running. They had no more timeouts, and the clock went down before he snapped the ball. To me, this end of half, no discussion. So, but that is also momentum shift, whether you want to agree with it or not. Going into halftime with as badly as your defense has played, down 10 is much different than going down 14, scoring a touchdown. So that to me was bad. But the defense, I feel like they just, once the third quarter came and the score got up to like 30, was it 35-14 or whatever, I feel like the defense was like, fuck it. Like that's really what I feel. And I feel like that about that we've seen that the last couple of years. And that also questions the character of this team. And we how many times we heard it from Bears players where they say, we still gotta Jalen said this in this pivot episode. We still gotta get on the same page when it comes to winning. And we gotta do this, we gotta do that. Or last year we want to be coached. It's like, are y'all in high school? Like, y'all are paid professionals. Like, I feel like, yes, you should have some guidance in this, but some of y'all should be motivated to play, and especially against a division rival and things like that. So I do think there was some level of quit. I think more of the issue is, like you said, Bang, there's a talent deficit on this team, which goes back to the general manager, Ryan Poles, which we will be spending a nice significant amount of time on today. Because the more I think about this project and this team, the more infuriated I get when it comes to the dude who's leading the whole thing. But yeah, bad defense, bad day. But I also don't think this defense is as bad as we saw it yesterday. I do think it's not. I don't think it's going to be as good as maybe we originally thought as a whole. I think we all knew the pass rush was going to be bad. I said that. We all said that. Anybody with eyes said that the pass rush was going to be bad. Montez Sweat is the most overrated defensive lineman in the NFL. I think more and more you see why these GMs look at Ryan Poles and they're like, oh, we finna finesse this dude. I think that Washington felt the same way. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, let's get rid of him. And so Montez Sweat is a good DL. Not a good defensive end if you got a great D line. Like, this was 2018 with the Khalil Macks, the Hakeem Hicks, Eddie Goldman's, guys like that. Yes, then Montez is a guy who's going to come in and step in because there's so much more emphasis on the other guys. He's a 40-degree day. He's not a playmaker. And when you pay him like a playmaker, don't forget Ryan Poles. Before anything we got started, gave this man basically $100 million. He's a top 10 highest paid defensive lineman in the NFL. And you can't go out there and have that kind of production. Yes, I know he had a sack before he got taken away with a penalty, but in the words of Lamar Park legend Moesha, almost don't count. So that doesn't really mean anything to me. And I shouldn't be watching a football game for the second week in a row and I forget you're on the field. And that's how I feel about a lot of the defense. Bang, what did we say in the summer? We was like, oh, well, the defensive the edge isn't that good, but Ryan Poles has a lot of faith in the interior. I don't know about you. The interior looked like shit to me too. I didn't see Grady Jarrett. What was Grady Jarrett at? Dio was great last week. I didn't see him today. You know what I'm saying? Gervon Dexter. I feel like Gervon Dexter is like we're looking at what we would love Gervon to be because he has the tools rather than what he actually is. You know, it kind of reminds me of what we were asking for Leonard Floyd. Obviously, Leonard Floyd was a higher draft pick, and since he's left Chicago, 8 sacks a year for like 5 years in a row, by the way. Very hilarious. When I saw that stat during Sunday Night Football, I wanted to throw something. But this defense is not great. Even though it looked Mel Tuckerish last night, I don't think it's going to be that. But I do think that this is going to be some team that's big play worthy. And against the better teams, like the Detroits, like the Washington Commanders, like the Baltimore Ravens, Philadelphia Eagles, you're going to see a lot more of these blowouts, in my opinion. But they're also not going to be to the point where average teams are going to be able to dust them up as badly as we saw yesterday, which makes these next 2 games so much more important. But that's an issue right there. Moving on to our next part here in this discussion, we got to talk about the head coaching matchup here, man. Yesterday, Dan Campbell was a man with his life on the line yesterday. I know just from being in that city the last 2 years, they were ready to throw this man out of his house if he lost that game. There was no way that Dan Campbell could have lost this. Ben Johnson was public enemy number 1. I have not seen a man this hated in the city of Detroit since Michael Jordan. It has been bad. There's a lot of hurt lover syndrome last night. And me and Bang had this conversation before the show started where Detroiters, they really, really love their city. And I think we all love our city, especially Chicagoans. Like, I think Chicagoans are very underrated when it comes to city arrogance. Everybody brings up New Yorkers and Texans. By the way, if you're from Texas, I have no idea why you are arrogant. It's Texas, but that's besides the point. Chicagoans are very arrogant as well. Detroiters aren't arrogant. Detroiters really have pride for their city. And if somebody goes against their city, even something in football, obviously, they're going to hate. And it was like, it felt like your ex-girlfriend leaving you. And, you got your new girl, you really don't like her. She showed out yesterday, but you still would rather have your ex back, which is, if you ask any Lions fan unbiasedly, they'll probably tell you they welcome him back. But this goes to what you were saying just 3 weeks ago on this program. You said, if it starts slow, when are we going to start to question Ben Johnson? Now, if the defense is the number 1 reason this team lost last night, to me, number 2 on that list is Mr. Benjamin Johnson. I'm going to go to you. What's your thoughts on Ben? What he's been like the first 2 games? And as you put in the chat in big, bold words yesterday, when can we question him? Are you questioning him right now?
Yes. But not in the way that many might think. I'm questioning him because as a first-time coach, is somebody who might have been in this position before, because I don't know if he was originally the offensive coordinator when Dan Campbell came over. I believe they fired somebody.
He came at the end of 2021, and then 2022 was his first full year where they started on 6.
Got you. So you've kind of been in this position, but as an OC. So how do you react to this as a head coach? That remains to be seen. We'll see. The media aspect of it. He's getting killed this morning on Chicago media, even by his press conference. I told y'all before the season start, his press conferences are going to be looked at crazy. Because people are going to be looking, especially for somebody who's talking about accountability. What happens when you're not setting the team up to win? I don't remember you telling us this, but I was watching Mully and Hall before I went to ESPN, and they was talking about how they didn't practice on Wednesday. So that was
cool. Oh, no, I told y'all that. Oh,
I probably missed it. But my Wednesdays be crazy anyway. So they didn't practice.
We'll give you a pass, Suit. We'll give you a pass.
Give me that pass. Give me my win.
By the way, the originator of Suit, Jonathan Hood, will be on the show on Friday. Just want to get.
Oh shit. But nah, you got look at it in that way. Like, was that a terrible decision? And what we doing right now? So you definitely have to question him. With that being said, I like them going through adversity now to see how he reacts to that, to see how he holds his team accountable. You didn't practice on Wednesday. I bet they practicing on Wednesday this week. And if they don't, you question things even more.
Practice is at 1 o'clock on Wednesday.
There you go. You're going up against a team who gave up 40 points, right? You're going up against a Dallas team who defensively is probably in the same situation as you are right now. Who gonna stop a nosebleed over there? So could this be a Caleb Williams breakout game, as they would say? But can your defense hold too? So I think that, yeah, it is fair to question. I do have some thoughts on the team that now that I've had a 12 hours to decompress and stuff, where I believe that this could be sink or swim. And what I mean by that is this ain't rock bottom to me. And this ain't rock bottom to me, but it's close to it. I'm going to say it's close to it. So because of that, it is going to be very important to see how Ben Johnson reacts and see how he galvanized the team. Because for a team that has not given up this amount of points since, 2014 with Mark Trestman them, we saw what happened with that team. This team is 2 games in, and we're already counting them out. So I think you're going to find out very early about not only, forget Caleb, we're going to find out very early about Ben Johnson, and if we got Sean McVay or we got Adam Gase.
100% agree. 100% agree. I don't know if question is the word I would use to say it's time to do with Ben Johnson, but I do believe the pressure's on him. And I think the pressure is on him even more than Caleb Williams. And I think that might be controversial. I said yesterday, and I even more confirmed after rewatching the game when I got home last night. Caleb Williams had a great day. We'll get into Caleb in just a second, but Caleb and Rome Odunze are the only 2 players on the field who deserve a paycheck yesterday, from my vantage point. But Ben has come here to be the wonder kid, right? Like, this is not a situation where the Bears reached when it came to this appointment. You know what I'm saying? This is a guy who was the #1 coaching candidate the last 2 seasons. In fact, he could have taken the Commander's job instead of Dan Quinn, but allegedly he told us this. This is what his own agent and other reporters have said, that he always wanted the Bears. So this is what you got. I don't think it's something where Ben is questioning himself. It's not even something where I'm necessarily worried that he can't turn it around. But I do believe that it's now hitting him that this job is going to be a little tougher than he thought. And I said this on I didn't say it on here, but I said it on the 79th and Hallis, who we played with, Weekend Vikings, preview pod. I told Mikey, I said, I don't know. I got a vibe from Ben's first press conference for week 1, where it felt like he had the vibe of, I don't think this team is ready yet. And he wished that he had a little bit more time and that training camp didn't go the way that he went. Obviously, I'm putting words in his mouth. That's just the vibe I personally felt from it. And just looking at his play call, look at his personnel use, it looks like he don't feel like the team is ready. It feels like he only trusts a certain amount of people, which is the problem that I have. I don't really have too much of an issue with the play calling yesterday. There was the 2 quarterback sneaks were very Shane Waldron, Luke Getsy-ish, which I had a problem with. But outside of those 2 plays, I didn't think the play calling was bad. I thought the play call was fine. But there's other stuff like the use of personnel, which I just don't like. DeAndre Swift is what he is. He's not a bad player. DeAndre Swift is good when he's your second or your third back to use the system. He is not a 15-carry guy. Granted, they did not give him the ball yesterday 15 times. He had 12, had 1 touchdown, rushed 63 yards, but he also had a fumble where on a drive that would have kept this a 14-14 game. Caleb was throwing ropes that entire drive and he fumbled the ball. You cannot allow it. But you got to switch it up. Roshan Johnson was healthy yesterday. No carries, not 1. Kyle Manon got 7 carries. You got to switch it up more. You got to use all 3 of those dudes. And if I look at the wide receivers, bro, only one he was really throwing, he threw to DJ Moore 5 times. Rome Odunze had a great game, 7 receptions, 128 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. Obviously, there's a rapport with him and Caleb. I think that he's going to be the wide receiver #1. Use DJ Moore. Cole Kmet had 2 receptions. They only targeted him twice. Colston Loveland, the guy you picked with your first draft pick this year, the guy you picked instead of going for a left tackle or going for an edge. No possessions. No targets. Not only no targets, I'm trying to look for the stat here. He only played 53% of the snaps. Like, what are we doing? That kind of stuff can't happen. So I hope that when he's looking at the film today, he's going to speak to the media virtually in about around 3 o'clock, that he looked at like, yo, I got to get others involved. Now, he said last week, I got to give another guy more carries. He gave him carries, but not enough, in my opinion. So he got to spread the rock around. Like, he got to spread the rock around. He's got to do whatever he's got to do. But overall, I think it's hitting him what all the duties are for a coach. Like you said, he's getting killed in the media. I haven't heard anything. I have blocked media this morning. I haven't really seen any Chicago media, national media. I don't want to hear any of this shit. I don't want to hear people blame Caleb for the defense putting up 52 points. But, yeah, I think it's on him. Because let's be real here, folks. We can sit up here, we complain about Ryan Poles, we can complain about players on this team. They're not going anywhere, okay? This is the roster that you're going to have for majority of the season unless they decide to add or decide to, subtract at the trade deadline. So it's up to Ben Johnson to fix it, and that's what you were brought in here to fix it. You were brought in here to fix Caleb and fix this team. Now, this is going to be my very optimistic point here, an optimistic point that I do not believe, but I don't want to be full negative today. If you went back and watched the Cowboys documentary the first year they had Aikman,
we on the same page. We
Aikman,
thinking alike.
Michael Irvin and Jimmy Johnson, that team won 1-15. Okay, so that's all I'm saying. Was that Bobby says, Scott, want to get your viewpoint from the press box. Is it the calls aren't targeting weapons, or is Caleb not going to them? We only get the TV view. Colston Loveland wasn't on the field yesterday. He only was on the 53 snaps. He wasn't on the field. Luther Burden wasn't on the field. In the backfield, it's mainly DeAndre Swift. So it's not a view of Caleb not going for the guys. They weren't on the field yesterday, which is a big issue for me. Like, there was Luther Burden had one target, and then he dropped the ball. But then I told Joe, and he dropped the ball. I told Joe, Gino, and Herb. I was like, what you expecting to do? He been on a bench for 45 minutes. Like, his knees are still, he probably got cramps. Like, you can't just be not having players involved and expecting them to come off the bench, especially a rookie, cold, and just make plays. So I'm going to need Ben to get all of that together. But from an offensive standpoint, I'm not really worried. And that takes us into Caleb. I thought the offense, and granted, it was a blowout, so I know we're kind of pulling the strings here, but we can only talk about what we saw. Out of the 21, you can't call it 21 out of the 21 points the offense put up, 7 of them was garbage time. Very aware of that. But when I went back and watched it, I liked what I saw from Caleb. Caleb's numbers aren't gaudy. You only 19 and 30, 19 and 32 touchdowns passing, and one interception. One bonehead interception that was basically a punt. Last week, I saw about 6 or 7 passes that were just, oh my God, not even close. He dropped that down to about 2 today, which is progress. I know people don't want us. I know there's a lot of Bears fans out there like, why we keep grading them like this? But this is he's relearning, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like he's relearning. So there was progress here. There's more confidence here. And also when he went to the podium, it didn't feel like he was defeated. You know what I'm saying? So I think that him and Rome Odunze were the only players who deserved a paycheck yesterday. If I gave Caleb a D last week, I'm going to give him a B for yesterday. I thought there was growth there. I thought there was growth from the offense as well that hopefully you can carry on. The best thing about this team is they are not going to see another elite defense for a while. For a while, they're not. The Dallas Cowboys defense is not good. Yesterday, they let up the Cowboys. Let the Giants put up 37 points. Okay, so that's going to be a defense that you can make plays on. The Raiders defense, they're not world beaters either. After the bye week, I know that Commanders are good, but they got an old defense, bro. They got an old defense that you can make plays on. After that, you got the Saints. Now, the Saints playing a lot better than I thought they would, even though they are on to. They've been a lot more competitive. That's a defense you can make plays on. They don't play a great defense till week 8 against Baltimore. So here's time right now for you to at least get the offense up and running. We need to look at the 2022 Detroit Lions. They started 0-6. 0-6. Everybody wanted to fire Dan Campbell. Oh, he's done. He's a meathead. Granted, they did not make the playoffs that year, but they finished off strong. They knocked the Packers out of a chance to make the playoffs, and they carried that into the next year. So that's the good thing that Ben knows what it's like to be on a team that start off slow like that. So the difference was the 0-16. It's kind of what we saw last night. The defense was giving up the draws in that 2022 Detroit Lions team, but the offense is putting up points. So you go from last week, much better offensive showing this week. Keep building on that to where you're at least in shootouts, right? That's something that I feel like even if you lose, the Bears fans like, okay, Caleb out there, the offense is out there putting up points. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I saw some growth here, despite the fact that it was a 31-point blowout. And I think that Caleb was good, and I think that contrary to what the media heads are saying, he's learning, in my personal opinion. He's getting it slowly but surely. And I think he's going to look like a much better quarterback in week 6 than he looked in week 1. But he's growing. What did you see from Caleb yesterday? And, what kind of grade would you give him?
I give him a C+. I saw some improvements there. I don't count that interception because that was basically, as you had said, it was basically a punt. But also he was trying to throw it out of bounds. Like he was not trying to, or at least it looked like he was trying to throw it out of bounds. So, but that's a punt. And it's his first interception of the year. So I think in the moment I was doom and gloom, F everybody, because of where we were at and how we were already feeling. But I give him a C+. However, I think now, well, first let me say, in me seeing the national media, they did not kill him this morning. It was more along the lines of the Bears look like a team that might not win more than 5 games in a quarterback-rich draft. So if that were to happen, that would be
DEFCON 5 in a quarterback. What?
In a quarterback-rich draft.
I don't know if anybody watched college football this weekend, but these niggas are trash.
Shouts out to Evan Cohen, because Evan Cohen was like, I don't know about that, fam. I don't know. I wouldn't say that.
All them
I
dudes
wouldn't
look
say that.
sorry. Yeah,
it's like, I'm not even talking about just Arch. Like, these quarterbacks don't look.
All of them look bad.
All of them. Lenore Sellers looked like ass the other day. And he was my favorite comment to this. But people will say this is a quarterback-rich draft. They will say up to 6 quarterbacks may be taken in the first round in this upcoming draft. So for somebody like Ben Johnson, who did not draft Caleb Williams, you could say I came here because of, but I did not draft him. You do not want to be in a position where it is a quote-unquote quarterback-rich draft. Y'all don't win a certain amount, and these are quarterbacks in front of you. That's what they don't want, and that's what I get, and I totally understand. The other thing, too, is you don't want so bad of play masking what could be improvements from Caleb, because I do think he improved week over week. But that defense was so ass, and since he's the quarterback, you don't care about the fact that he did improve on his play, that he actually did look decent. He's improved week over week, and you want to see that week over week. No, you just saw the Bears get their ass beat. You just saw 52 points get dropped on them. And one thing that I said before the season started was the defense has to hold this team together for the first couple of weeks. And I said that I had more confidence in Dennis Allen than I did Ben Johnson right now, because that defense with the right coaching will be okay. Tyreek Stevenson is supposed to be a man-to-man corner. That's supposed to be his thing. Didn't look like it.
All up and down
right. JJ got hurt. So who you got behind him? There's really no depth behind these corners, right? So the defensive line is terrible. Basically, what I'm saying is Ryan Poles is getting in the way of the development of his quarterback because he has not put the right people in place to at least mask some of those things that you will be going, because he's made terrible draft choices. And I don't want to say that Luther Burden is trash, because he's not. I don't want to say Coastal Leveland is trash, because he's not. But I don't want to say that Ozzie Trapillo is trash. I don't want to say that Shamar Turner is trash. And those two didn't even dress.
Oh, and don't forget high draft pick Kyron Amagaji. He didn't dress either, which is a perfect segue into Ryan Poles. Which this is what made me the angriest yesterday. And we talked about this on the podcast when we did Saturday Night at the House, which is up on all podcast feeds right now if you want to check it out. It's a shorter version, it's about 30 minutes. There's no audio. We recorded this in the Ford Field media room. So yeah, we weren't standing out there for an hour. So, yeah, check it out. But the big problem here, we can sit up here, we can talk about Ben, and we can talk about Caleb. It's Ryan Poles, man. And this is something that everybody on this show, everybody on 7 House, I think everybody with a brain, we've always said, because I feel like we were burned by Ryan Pace. And just honestly, bro, the Bears ain't had a great general manager in God knows how long. Jerry Angelo was not good. Like Jerry Angelo didn't know what an offensive player was that hit him upside his head. But he is a terrible talent evaluator. Like, he has these last 3 years, he's had all these high draft picks. What are these high draft picks doing? Like, I can't name one or even two players that I could say without a shadow of a doubt, he's a game changer. I can't name one. I don't know about you. I'm talking about people who left the team as well. Yesterday, last week, everybody was on Justin Fields' dick for the performance he had. Yesterday, he didn't score a touchdown. He left with a concussion. How many times we seen that as Bears fans? So you could put his development blame on Ryan Poles' doorstep. It's his fault. You know what I'm saying? And then you can look at the other players. Darnell Wright, he just looks like an average right guard. He just looks average. Right tackle. He's an average guy. He's not trash, but he's not had a great start to the season. And you hear about his work ethic, which the offensive line coach called out in the offseason. And everybody, their alarms went off. And now I'm thinking about that quote even more. He looks bad. Jonah Jackson. I really think these GMs know that, we can finesse Ryan Poles. Jonah Jackson, sound investment. Looks like he's been bad. Like, both him and Darnell Wright have been so bad that I haven't even realizing that, Braxton Jones has just been mid. Like, he ain't been trash. He's just been mid. And that's how bad it is. Like you said, Orlando, he likes to draft based on trade. Ryan Poles likes to draft dudes who had the same story he got. Don't do that. That's why you're a general manager now, because you couldn't make it. Stop drafting dudes who have the little engine that could. Draft studs. I don't care if Jalen Carter spit on everybody in at Hallis Hall. Like, he's an elite talent. You draft that. Your defensive ends, your defensive tackles, they're supposed to have a little crazy in them. Like, and they try to put up this family values crap. And it's not just Ryan Poles. It's the same organization. There's an organization that didn't want profanity on their Hard Knocks. How dare we see these grown men, millionaire athletes cuss? Like, it's annoying. And what's even more annoying is they gave this man a contract extension. Now, I said on this show that it made sense. I didn't say that I liked it. What I said by it made sense, it lined up with the coach. But when you see the holes on this team is so talent deficient. Man, you talk about the lack of depth in the secondary. He don't know how to draft there either. You know what I'm saying? That your best player on this entire defense is a player that you did not draft. Jalen Johnson is not a Ryan Poles draft pick. That is one of the final Ryan Pace draft picks. It's kind of like the Arturas Carniceovas and the John Paxson thing. John Paxson was bad, but Arturas makes him look great. Ryan Pace, for all of his faults, and let's be real, he had a lot. I am not here to Monday morning quarterback Ryan Pace's career as a Bears general manager. But during that bad time, he also gave this team 2 playoff appearances. He gave this team a division title. He drafted 7 Pro Bowlers and 2 All-Pros. What has Ryan Poles done that's even been close to that? Nothing. And so you give this dude more power, and now you're stuck in, as I like to call it, the cycle of shit. Because let's just say, if and when they do let go of Ryan Poles, maybe the season's over and it's not what they thought it was going to be. The talent deficit is really sticking out, and Kevin Warren says, I don't care if he signed an extension. I ain't hired this dude. I'm firing him. Now we go through the same crap we went to, because now you got a new general manager who comes in with a new philosophy, who's going to be looking at Ben. The clock's going to be on Ben because I didn't hire Ben. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing. When you got rid of Justin, you should have wiped your hands like Pontius Pilate and started over. Okay? That's what you should have did. But since you want to skip steps, which is what we said on the pod yesterday, he tried to skip rebuild steps. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm going long. I'm gonna let Bane talk in a minute, but he tried to skip rebuild steps. You have to fully embrace a rebuild in any league. And in the NFL, it's a quicker process than it is Major League Baseball or NBA. You taking at least 5 years to do that in both of those leagues. And the NFL is much quicker. And you can't buy a car with no engine. You can't build a house with no foundation, and that is exactly what he's doing. It doesn't really matter if Caleb is doing this, then a third, if the foundation around him is bad. You've had 3 top 10 draft picks in the last 3 years. I'm not last 3 years, but in the last 7 years. Mitchell Trubisky was drafted number 2. Justin Fields drafted number 10, and Caleb Williams drafted number 1. And you screwed 2 of them. As bad as Mitch was, as much as I kill Mitch, the biggest they set Mitch up for failure the day that they told John Fox, we're not going to get the quarterback you want, or Jamal Adams, which was rumor he wanted Jamal Adams. We're going to get this kid. So you already paired him with a coach who doesn't believe.
That's what I wanted. I wanted Jamal Adams.
And then Matt Nagy comes in. Matt Nagy was a way worse play caller than Mitch was a quarterback, and I stand on that. And now you're doing the same thing with Caleb Williams. And now you're going to hope that Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson's mind and talent is able to rise above their bad general manager. He's a bad general manager, and that leads to even the ownership with the owner. And George McCaskey is a sweet guy, but he does not know what he's doing. I don't know what Kevin Warren does, honestly, to be either. He's been here for 2 years. Where's the stadium? Where's the stadium? I don't want to hear about these updates. We're going to do this, that, and third. Where's the stadium? Shovel's supposed to be in the ground this year. It's not going to happen. So I know I'm ranting, but yeah, like you said, Joseph, we're in endless loop veil. Bane, what's your thoughts on Ryan Poles, this whole situation, and I guess like the cancer that's in this team?
Oh man, I famously called him Leor Poles. Back when the whole Roquan Smith thing that happened, naming him after Leor Cohen, who once oversaw Def Jam, and a lot of people would say, damn near put Def Jam into the ground. That ain't changing. Look, the man track record is poor. And this is going to sound bad, or what I was going to say originally was going to sound bad. But because of where we are at in the world, I won't use certain 3-letter terms that people throw out about. But what I will say is that's what he's acting like right now. This man has a record that is so piss poor that literally if he was on any other team, not only would he have not gotten an extension, he would have been fired. When we have situations where the thought, forget it happening, the thought that people you picked in the first 3 rounds of the draft will be healthy scratches will get you in some type of shit. Ryan Poles should have not gotten an extension. This should have been the epitome of a prove it year, or better yet, they've done Ryan Poles like you did Caleb Williams and like you did Justin Fields. You kept somebody who should have been gone, and you did not start fresh. I don't put all of this season's draft picks on him because Ben Johnson was in that room with him. Ben Johnson wanted Colston. They saw Luther Burden there. They drafted Luther Burden. So those two who barely saw the field, who barely did anything, that is the combination of Poles and Johnson, to where I don't mind Colston Loveland. I think he's going to be a pretty good tight end in this league. But you needed line help. Offensive line or defensively. Same thing with Luther Burden. I think Luther Burden is going to be DJ Moore's replacement. Hot take. I don't think DJ Moore is going to be on this team next season.
I don't. I'm starting to think the same way.
I think this is good. I think when they drafted Luther Burden, that was their out. And I think contract-wise, if you're going to get out, he already had a team-friendly contract. But at the end of this season, you will get some immediate cap relief if DJ Moore is off this team. So your wide receiver position is Rome and Luther. Same thing with Cole. I think they prepared for 2026 That's the only thing that I could think of. Because if they did not, this looks terrible on polls. And it kind of looks terrible on Ben because he co-signed this. So it's going to be it's a lot to be desired when it comes to polls. But the only thing that I could think of is that Ben is like, he's going to tell us we could win this year, but he's really gunning for 2026 and making some huge changes on the offensive skill positions to where DJ's gone, Cole is gone. You have your 2 starting wide receivers right there. Hopefully you get some running back help with maybe Jeremiah Love or somebody else that might be popping up there. And maybe you could get younger. That's the only thing that I could think of. If that is not the case, Ryan Poles is extremely terrible at his job.
Now, this has nothing to do with football, but I got Good Morning Football in the background. I just got to say, who's the new black girl on Good Morning Football? Because she fine. I just want to put that out there. I don't know who the casting director is over there, but good job, okay? But to piggyback off what Bang is saying, and that actually takes it into the next topic, final topic here on the local hour. You talk about they has plans to really compete for 2026, which doesn't sound crazy with a new coach. Maybe he's trying to get his guys in, and maybe this year's, goal is just stay afloat. I don't know. Is it time to readjust expectations? Me personally, I was asked this yesterday. I'm not ready to go there yet because with famous and beloved Chicago Bears head coach Lovie Smith said once, you got to break up the season in the quarters. Now, granted, there's 17 games, not 16, like when he was coaching, so the number's off a little bit. But the first quarter of the season is 4 games. And I said that they were going to be 2-2 after the first 4 games. Now, this is not the order I had them in. I had them 1-1 after the first 2. I had them beating Minnesota, and I did have them losing to Detroit regardless. That's what I said in the preseason. I'm not ready to go there yet. I'm not. You got 2 winnable games. I know it sounds funny because at the moment, the Bears shouldn't be looking at anything as winnable. But these are 2 winnable games. No matter how badly they played or they gave up the draws week 1, and giving up the draws week 1 looks even worse after the absolute disaster class that J.J. McCarthy put up at U.S. Bank Stadium last night. It was an absolute stink show. Or as my brother liked to say, he was throwing around burger meat all up and down that field yesterday. It looks worse. And then the absolute blowout last night. Those were the top 2 seeds in the NFL last year, regardless if you want to accept that or not. Detroit was a great team, and even though I know Minnesota had to go on the road because of wild card rules, but they won 14 games last year. That is arguably a top 3 defense in the league. So you're going to have more shots now with easier defenses to go against and more tame offenses to go. Not to say, obviously, the Vikings offense was bad, but you know what I mean. So I'm not ready to go there yet. If they finish this top 4, the next 2 games, and we go on a bye week and then 1-3 or on 4, then yeah, I think it's time to temper those expectations for whatever you had them. But for right now, I don't like the order that they've lost the games. But I think they're still on track to be 2-2 the next 4. At the end of the first 4 games. Do not let Eberflus come into this stadium on Sunday and have his defense put up a good show with Tom Brady in the building because it is the NFL Fox game of the week. So, Bang, do you think it's time to readjust expectations, or is it a little early for that?
Yes, because the defense is piss poor. And injuries is going to help continue that. So yeah, I think it is definitely time to readjust. And that's me saying that, and I predict them to win 8 games. The defense, if I stand on what I said, the defense was going to carry this team for the first couple of weeks as the offense get acclimated. Somebody tell me what a defensive relief is going to come at. It is not coming. You know what? The Cincinnati game, because Joe Burrow is not there, but Jamar Chase and T. Higgins is still there, ladies and gentlemen. Chase Brown is still there. And that offensive line may be Pitts, but our defensive line is Pitts too. All right? So yeah, it is time to readjust expectations, and it's not just because of the players, but it's also because of the coaching. The Bears are still at the Bears are still. It feels like they're still in preseason mode. So with Lovey's thing about it being what 4 quarters in a season,
Yeah.
yeah, that needs to speed up here. You know what I'm saying? It needs to speed up here. So yeah, I think it is time to readjust because I think that, and especially if you're right in saying that you are not for sure if Ben Johnson trusts what he has, then he has to grow into trusting that too. But the only thing that I will say to that is that Ben has to stop putting the people that he trusts in positions that he don't trust them to make. So that's going to come into him really getting used to what's going on with his personnel as well. So, yeah, it needs to be adjusted because it's clear to me that Ben Johnson and his coaching staff is going through some growing pains, and we don't have the personnel. Eric Bieniemy is supposed to be a great running backs coach. What running back is he gonna coach? Is DJ Moore gonna be the new Ty Montgomery? Hell no. Like like we don't have the personnel. No.
So one last question before we move on to the main rundown. What are you readjusting to since you originally had it to 8 wins? Like, and it doesn't have to be a win total. What is your like, just your readjusting on your view of the season going forward?
I mean, I will say this: the only winnable games that I see on this schedule right now, when I say winnable, I mean that on paper these guys should be the favorite. That's the Giants game, that is the Saints game, and that is the Cleveland game. Now, when you add the fact that Joe Burrow is going to be out for 3 months, then you can put four on the board. You can put four on the board right there of games that you feel that are winnable. Um, with that being said, since we're talking about winnable games, and you want to put that on there, we know the Bears. They will shit the bed on those winnable games. But when you look at
100%.
in division, you can look at the Minnesota game and say, if we do what we supposed to do, we should have won that game. And JJ McCarthy looked like shit. So you can look at that end of the season. You can look at Detroit looking at the Bears as food. And we ain't even got to talk about Green Bay. So when you start looking at the non-divisional games,
I'm so glad we don't play them until week 14.
yeah, you're right. I'm so glad too. So no, I will have to adjust that, but I'm also adjusting it not just because I don't think the team is good enough for these last 2 games. I think we really have to look at the personnel and Ben learning his personnel and learning how to use his personnel. And maybe Ben is using them learning to use them on the fly. He's not going to let us know that. He's not going to tell you that in the media pit. But once the cameras are off, once he's in his office and talking to his coaching staff, I think that they're really looking at how to improve the team week by week. I don't think he's looking at wins. I truly believe when he says that he's not demoralized because of yesterday, because he probably
Yeah.
believed that was going to happen in the first place. He know who he playing
Yeah,
against.
he's not
He
a
know he playing
dumbass. Yeah.
against. So that's not a demoralizing win. I know who they are. But I think as the win, I think Ben looks at it, and I hope this is the case. Ben looks at improvement first, the wins will come. And if we improve and we get this team into the shape that they need to be, back half of the year, we'll be competing a lot more. And again, 2026 is the go time because we're going to make some changes, probably make some trades. We're going to make some improvements.
Broke Batman in the comments says, bro, they'll present Dak his Hall of Fame jacket during halftime next week. Yo, it's a very high chance that they make Dak look like 1992 Troy Aikman. Very, very, very good, true about that. But you're right. We're gonna see how this goes. I'll be at Hallis Hall on Wednesday, so look for my Hallis Hall Wednesday recap. I'm gonna be getting out of there very quickly because Arsenal plays Champions League football Wednesday, and I gotta have one team that's worth a damn. So I will be getting home to watch that. But that's it for the local hour. Local hour is sponsored by Sockman on 87th. Anyway, for real, if we would love an actual sponsor. I've been hitting people up. So if y'all know somebody or if you're watching, you like to sponsor, not just local hour of the show, please email me or DM me at Barbchair Scott. And while you're at it, get to our merchandise shop, man, bcnetshop.com. It is about to get cold in majority of the country. Go grab you a hoodie. I'm not gonna hold your hoodie like I got on right now, or you can get your 7 Act and Hallis Barbershop hoodie update, man. So let's get into the main show, man. Week two, we are done with our second NFL Sunday. There is a Monday Night Football doubleheader going on tonight. I think it's in Houston and also in Vegas tonight, man. Yeah, so that's gonna be interesting to see. We're gonna preview that in a minute, but let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's talk about the team that has dominated this league for the last half decade. They are not having a great start to their season. They are starting 0-2 for the first time since 2014, which was Andy Reid's first year as head coach of this franchise, man. And they lost first game in Brazil to their division rival, the Los Angeles Chargers, who played tonight, and then they lost yesterday to the team that absolutely waxed them in the Super Bowl, the Philadelphia Eagles, 20-17. Patrick Mahomes having a very pedestrian evening, 16 for 29, 187 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked 2 times. He was their leading rusher. That was not good. Their rushing tactics like the Bears. Kareem Hunt did really nothing. Pacheco did nothing. Receiving tip. Kelsey just needs to retire and do shitty Amazon movies because he's not doing that. And their receiving core. I mean, who are these guys? Tyquan Thornton. You got Rancho Cucamonga Brown, Nico Remigio. Like, I don't even know some of these dudes, man. Like, it just looks terrible. But 0-2, they've got some favorable. I don't know if you want to call them favorable with the way this offense has been heading. But the Chiefs coming up. The Chiefs have Sunday Night Football next week against the New York Giants. They've got the Ravens at the crib after that, which is not good. They got the Jaguars in Jacksonville, and then they've got the Lions on Sunday Night Football. So, yeah, the next 4, you got 2 winnables in 2 games that you're probably going to lose if your offense keeps looking the way it's looking. So I do feel like there's a chance right now for real panic if you are a Chiefs fan because you've never seen them look like this. And I think the fact of the matter is Pat has nobody to throw to. I think that's really what it comes down to. This is not a matter of bad play calling. Obviously, I've never talked bad about Andy Reid's play calling. I think the defense, Orlando, you got to stop putting comments here that I can't post on the screen. This is hilarious, but I can't post that, bro. But, he has nobody to throw to. He has nobody to throw to. And we see that time and time again. Travis Kelce, not the man who used to be. Rice is still going to be out for a couple games. David Worthy was on one leg yesterday. Didn't look good. It's just a mess. It's just a mess. It's not to the point where I would think that this season is going to go fully off the rails because this is still Patrick Mahomes. This is still Andy Reid. And, sometimes you can have a lukewarm season and still win a Super Bowl. We've seen the Patriots do that a couple times. So they're officially at the part of as a franchise in this run that it doesn't really matter what they do in the regular season. But you also don't want to be going out here having this. Get a Philadelphia Eagles. When we get to the Eagles side in just a second, you got to be feeling awesome about like this. Joseph, they look like a Bears offense. Everybody wants to know what Patrick Mahomes looked like with the Chicago Bears. Watch these first 2 games. That's what he would look like. He would not look like a generational quarterback. We came on this show last week and we asked, have Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson surpass them? It's performances like that make you ask. And, especially coming in with the revenge factor and them thinking that, we got to get them back. They had this game circled since the minute Kendrick Lamar left the stage halftime. Like, that's when the game was over. So, they've had it circled since then. And Philly went there. Philly walked in there like the champion. Philly walked in there like they were the team that's been dominating this league for the last 5 or 6 years. And, it just did not look good right now. And I think it's actually time to worry a little bit. Bang, what's your thoughts on what you saw yesterday for the Chiefs?
I ain't worried because I picked them to go 0-2. I picked them to go 0-2. I picked the Chargers, right? I picked the Chargers to win that first game of the year, and I picked the Eagles to win this one too. Yeah, they're gonna struggle against some of the teams, the bigger teams, teams that they've gone against. Like I mean, the Ravens game, even though on paper the Ravens should demolish them for what we see, Man, the Ravens nut up a bit when it comes to going up against some of these bigger name teams. Look at what they did with the Buffalo Bills. They should have won that game. What happened, right? The Giants is a get right game. They should blow the roof off of MetLife Stadium. And then the Chiefs going up against the Jaguars. Look, do we think Trick Off Trev is gonna win that game? No. Could he? Yeah, anything can happen.
Absolutely not.
But between like those first three games, well, those next three games, excuse me, I think they're winnable games. Again, the Baltimore Ravens, when they go up against these major teams, it's like, and then you got the Lions, which the Lions, I think the last time the Lions played the Chiefs, they beat them. It was the beginning of the season a couple of years ago, when we did Barbershare season kickoff at a spot in the West Loop that I won't mention. The Raiders and the Commanders, I think they should win those two. So I'm not worried because I picked them to go 0-2, and I think they have a couple of winnable games. And then a game like the Ravens, you go up in there and beat the Ravens, your confidence is back. What I will say, however, though, is I think that this team has done a piss poor job at putting talent around Patrick Mahomes. You thought that this is what happens when teams read the press clippings. And remember last season when I
This
said
also what
that
happens when you got to pay your quarterback.
no, it's that too. But remember, I think it was last season when you and Dante was yelling at me when I was like, I ain't putting Patrick Mahomes as the greatest of all time yet. Like, it's still the back half of the season. This is why. Like, this is why. Because you start to see what happened when talent ain't around you. You start to see what happens when you ain't got a top flight running back behind you, when you ain't got the wide receivers, when your offensive line is tough. Are you the greatest of all time right now? Patrick Mahomes out here looking like he running for his life right now. Not saying he's not a good quarterback. What I'm saying is that this is what happens when you read the press clippings and everybody say that your quarterback is the best of all time. So what do? We go cheap at wide receiver. We go cheap at running back. We go cheap at the offensive line position because we just paid you $500 million. And yeah, we could go ahead and give you some bonuses to give us some cap space and all of that shit. But nah, man, we ain't about to go out there and get no top flight wide receiver. We gonna go out there and get Wandale Robinson, who was good on the Giants. He don't mean he gonna be good for your team, right? Like a lot of those wide receivers would be sexy in Boise, Idaho, but they'd be ugly as hell in Beverly Hills. That's what the Chiefs do.
Yeah, the Chiefs went out there and got TC from Jamie Foxx show. Like they that's who they got Pat throwing to, man. And yeah, you know what, you're right. I did think about that. I also do think it's it's a little it is the arrogance because they think that Pat can just do whatever. Well, the one thing about when you're talking about the Brady and you talking about the different halves of his career with the Patriots, the first three championships, that was a defensive team that Brady and the offense just had to do enough. The second three championships he had with the Patriots was an offensive team. Now, I'm not saying obviously they had number two defense like in one or two of those three championships. But remember the year they went to the Super Bowl and they just got the doors blown off of them by Philly? Not blown off, it was a competitive game, but they gave up like 48 points because they didn't invest in the defense. And I really feel like they're like, oh, Pat can throw who would do whatever. We'll have come be a wide receiver night at Arrowhead. That's really what it looked like right there. So, that's how them dudes are performing.
Hey,
so
what's that movie? What's that movie when the Philadelphia Eagles with Mark Wahlberg is a true story when they did the little training camp, like they did the little fan training camp and dude ended up winning the job as a kick returner. Like Mark Wahlberg was the
I don't remember that movie, but
I forgot
it sounds like a Wahlberg movie. It sounds like a Wahlberg movie, but that's what it is. That's how I feel. So I'm with you. They need to make a statement in their life.
Invincible came out in 2006. Vince Papali or whatever. He tried out It was like he was like they Rocky. He tried out and he made the team. He's like a kickoff returner.
That's what they doing with the wide receivers out there in Kansas City, man. But yeah, if they don't blow out, even if they win, if they don't blow out the Giants, then I got a lot more questions, man. But let's move on to the winning side of this. That is the Philadelphia Eagles, the Super Bowl champions. They went out there confident. Now, like I said, I know I sound like a Jalen Hurts hater on this show. I am not. I'm just proving out the facts. Jalen Hurts is a quarterback who he's a winner for sure. He's not a great quarterback. He's not. He just not. I'm sorry. He's 15 out of 22, 100 yards, 101 yards passing, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Got sacked twice. Running, Saquon had 22 carries, 88 yards, 1 touchdown. Jalen Hurts also rushed for a touchdown as well. This was a defensive game because it's not like the offense of the Eagles was just amazing, because it wasn't. They just edged them out and they got the big play. That interception that Pat threw in the end zone, which is not Pat's fault, which is why I keep saying we got to bring up interceptions that are wide receivers' fault should not be on the quarterback's resume. That was 100% future Amazon Studio star Travis Kelce for the reason that interception. But when that interception happened, that was pretty much the game right there, even though it was a quarter left, because all the frustration had pretty much pulled out of it. But Philly, man, Philly looks great. Philly is like a team determined, and God willing, they stay healthy. I can see them running this thing back, man. Like, I know the NFC, you got the the Packers looking good. You know what I'm saying? Packers might be a threat. You know, you can't count out Detroit yet, even though I do have a hot take on Detroit. And, you know, Commanders, even though they don't look as good as 2 games in. So I'm not saying there's not teams that can beat them. The Rams look formidable when they came to Philadelphia last year. But Philly looks like a team that just has what it takes. When they won the Super Bowl the first time, they lost their offensive coordinators the next year. They had quarterback problems and it didn't look the same. This is not the same thing, right? It's a team that believes. They have a team that has say what you want about Nick Sirianni. I know I called him cheesesteak Matt Nagy, but I have been wrong. I know I called him that when he first got hired. I have been wrong. He is a good head coach. They've Vic Fangio's doing a great job with that defense. They know how to call plays, even with losing Kellen Moore to New Orleans. And they just keep adding. Howie Roseman is the best general manager in the sport. He does not care. He will just get players just to get them. You know what I'm saying? The owner, you know, Jeffrey Lurie, he's putting the money up. They are the model franchise, the model organization that every fan wishes their team. I understand why Eagles fans are so unbearable. I'd be the same way if the Bears even got half of that. So they look good and you know, staying healthy. We might be able to see our first back-to-back that we've seen in 20 years. What do you think about the Eagles that you saw last night and just going forward?
First of all, with the Jalen Hurts thing, he ain't got to be. Like, that's the great thing about this situation.
Best thing about yeah, exactly.
That's the best thing about this. He does not have to be. So anybody expecting him to be Peyton Manning or anything like that, pop quiz, hot shot, he ain't got to be that. And who has to be that? Like, when you have a team like that, like, why would you want that if you have a team like that? Like, nah, fam, he don't have to do that. With that being said, I think all roads lead to, I think there's 3 teams that can win the Super Bowl in the NFC. I picked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to go, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Green Bay Packers. I think those are the only 3, unless somebody pops out of nowhere. So yeah, I definitely think they have a chance to repeat, especially if everybody stays healthy. Because the one thing about both of those other teams that I named, the Eagles might be the most healthy team. They do have health issues on the offensive line with Dickerson being out, I believe, for an extended amount of time. You got Micah Parsons, who looks amazing, but when that black back flares up, we don't know what's going to happen right there, right? And how would that dramatically change the team? And then you also have health issues in the wide receiver room, even though Ibuka out here looking like a stud. Pause. Yeah, the Rams are a dark horse if Stafford can stay upright, though. And I don't trust, look, I still think Matt Stafford is a hit away from retiring during the season. So I do think that they're one of the few teams that can still win the NFC and go to the Super Bowl as long as they stay healthy. And yes, Harry Roseman is the best front office guy in the league. Hell, if I was the Bears, I'll give him a blank check and be like, yo, what would it take for you to leave those cheesesteaks and come get some of this Italian beef? Pause.
Yeah, that's very bad. I was looking to see why people were killing Jay-Z and Beyonce, but they were at a table with Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump. Breaking news, people, they're billionaires. Moving on.
Right.
This is not Jay-Z from Brooklyn and Beyonce from Houston, Texas. They are in
You
different
can't
Texas.
say, hey, and they're on the side of the billionaires where you can't say, move me over here.
Exactly. 100%. 100%. These are their colleagues, okay? I love Jay-Z music. I will listen to Jay-Z music to the day that I die. I love Beyonce. In fact, I don't think we give Beyonce no credit for how fine she is. Like, I think it's to the point where we just expect Beyonce to be fine. And I like Beyonce music. But let's be very clear, people. These are billionaires, okay? Black excellence because they always selling us something. That's exactly what it is. That's a whole nother thing. It's time right now for something that has become a really fun thing on this show, and that is Overreaction Monday. So since we don't have Courtney, and by the way, Courtney, rest up. Courtney, remember she said on Friday she had throat ache and she could feel it coming on her. You know, and I said 72 hours. She was sick. She said allegedly she was sick yesterday. You know, she was slandering our football team in the group chat all afternoon. As I said, you don't sound like somebody who's sick. But Courtney's not here today, and Dante has work, so the morning crew will be in and out depending on people's schedules. So we're gonna do Overreaction Monday. Yeah, but you a suit, bro. You lead niggas though. So
I'm shit. Boy,
I've
been working. I've been working all while we've been talking.
Oh no, I believe it. I'm just saying. You have more breathing room than they do. But so usually we go around giving our Overreaction Monday topic. So today I'm gonna do a little different. First, I'm gonna start with Bang. If you have any overreactions before I go into my list of overreactions, and we'll both say
overreactions from yesterday. Because of what happened last week, I'll call this an overreaction. I'm going back to my JJ McCarthy is going to be the head coach at Nazareth High School. I'm going back to that overreaction. No, my overreaction Monday is going to start with the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think they're going to be as bad as people think they are with Joe Burrow out. I think that Browning being in that system and being in this position, I think they're going to be stabilized. I'm not saying they're about to run off. I don't think they're about to run off with 5 straight wins or whatever. But I don't think like they're going to be as bad as people think. I don't think there's going to be a lot of doom and gloom there. Another overreaction is the Giants are not as bad as people think they are. And Russell is not as bad as people think they are. Like, hold off on the Jackson Dart thing. Yeah, he had a bad interception, but this is not about wins and going to the playoffs. This is about giving Jackson Dart enough time to develop before you put him in the game. So there's another thing. And my biggest overreaction of the week is one that I will continue on that I said on Friday. Mac Jones will be the next Sam Darnold. I said that he was going to have 2+ touchdowns. He did. I said that he was going to lead them to victory. He did. And I said that he was going to look great. Hey, Kyle Shanahan be giving these type of white quarterbacks money, and Mac Jones is going to be the next recipient of that paycheck. He is going to be rebuilt by Kyle Shanahan. So when Brock Purdy comes back, Kyle Shanahan is going to be like, damn, I got to go back to this dude. Fuck.
It's funny. Those your two last points were two of mine on my list. I'm gonna start with that one. My one overreaction was Jay Brown is gonna lead the Bengals to the playoffs. Like, I think he is a really good backup. Obviously you see a drop because Joe Burrow is a top 4 quarterback in the NFL at the absolute lowest. But Jay Brown looks good. He's done this before. This is not his first rodeo. Not the first time that Joe Burrow's been hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, we talk about indictments to front offices. This is an indictment that he's been there this long. They have never built an offensive line around him. You know what I'm saying? Ever. So I think Jake Browning can hold down the fort and really put this team in playoff position so that when Joe comes back, which I'm guessing will probably be around Christmas, he'll probably come back with 2, maybe 3 games left in the season, and he can take it from there and actually clinch the playoff spot. But I think Jake Brown is going to hold it down. My other one goes off to what you were saying about Mac Jones. Mac Jones is going to look better in Kyle Shanahan's offense than Brock Purdy. And the reason I say that, y'all know how I feel about Brock Purdy. I've been saying this about Brock Purdy since the minute that he got there. But who wanted Mac Jones from day one? We talked about this on Friday. It was Kyle Shanahan. You know what I'm saying? That exactly what it is. I think he's going to be able to. I think Mac Jones has always had better talent than Brock Purdy. He's always had the better arm strength than Brock Purdy, which is why he was drafted as highly as he was compared to a Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy's been cool. But you can also say Brock Purdy's the reason there's not a 7th Lombardi trophy in San Francisco right now, because he had a noodle arm when it was time to go band for band with Pat at the end of that game. So that is something I don't feel is an overreaction. I think Mac Jones is going to look better. And I don't want to say Shanahan's going to have a decision because they did pay Purdy. And that is a big thing here. But I think he's going to tell Purdy, take your time. Take your time, get in there. So I'm going to go to, I got 4 others that we have not brought up. Orlando said he has a couple. My overreaction is Michael Penix ain't it. That is an overreaction because the Vikings defense is incredible. And even with it being as incredible as it was, I saw some nice throws from Michael Penix these last 2 weeks, and this is only his 5th start last night. And this is somebody who didn't think he should have been drafted that high. So I don't say all that. Another one, my second overreaction is Pittsburgh will miss the playoffs and then Mike Tomlin will resign. I don't want Mike Tomlin to resign because I love Mike Tomlin, but him miss the playoffs will be amazing because of that terrible human being he has playing quarterback. And I really laughed how the Steelers lost that game last night. Very funny. So I got 4 other overreactions that I'm gonna ask you if you think are overreactions, and then I'm gonna give my own answer to them. My first one would be, I know I'm gonna sound like a hater. The Lions still ain't that good. And the reason I'm gonna say that is this. Yes, they put up 52 points on my favorite team in front of me. But that felt like it's a game that the Bears just rolled over more than just straight up domination. And yes, I know I'm picking the strings. But at teams that are better, I'm not too sure that they're going to look as good. That offense isn't going to be as free-flowing as it was against this Bears defense. That defense that they had yesterday, it did much better in the second half, getting to the quarterback and sacking Caleb a couple times. But I'll be real, man. There was a lot of times I forgot Hutchinson was still in the field. And I'm going to throw him a little grace because he still come back from a big surgery. But I'm still not convinced that these dudes are going to really have a legit chance to come out the NFC. What's your, am I overreacting here?
Nah, I don't think you're overreacting at all. I think I don't think that's overreaction at all, actually. Yeah, you good. No.
I'm spot on. All right. Let's see. Okay. This was probably not an overreaction either, but the Bears and Vikings are both going to finish under 500.
No, I don't think that's an overreaction either.
Because JJ McCarthy is bad.
Matter of fact, I think it would be an overreaction to say that. I don't even think it's an overreaction to say that the Minnesota Vikings are going to finish last.
Oh shit! Okay, lower than the Bears.
Yeah, JJ. The Bears didn't do themselves no favors, but they lost that game. They didn't win, like the Vikings didn't win that game. The Bears lost that game. JJ McCarthy looked he didn't look like and the defense is better. But I think by the time that the Bears play, maybe the defense would be straight. No, I don't know if JJ. I will be shocked if we don't see. I would be shocked if we don't see Carson Wentz sometime this season.
Okay, now that's an overreaction I can get into right now. Yeah, I'm with you. Said JJ won't be starting the whole year. JJ mechanics are so bad. The Vikings are going 6-11, and the Bears are going to be worse. I'm not ready to push the 5-6 wins on the Bears. Like I said, I'm gonna give them 2 more years. I don't know if I feel like with JJ to give it up to Carson Wentz. he would have to be so bad. Which I'm not saying that I can't see happening, but I'm gonna put a slight overreaction on JJ not starting the whole year.
But here's the only reason why I believe that, though. The schedule for everybody in the NFC North is difficult. Everybody is difficult. So if it's difficult for everybody, the two quarterbacks you expect to struggle is the person that was picked number 1 and the person that was picked 10th. I think, however, the talent between them both are low. The talent gap between both of them, I believe, is low. And just like if I have the same questions about Caleb and what happens when adversity hit, well, shit, I ain't never seen J.J. McCarthy really hit some adversity. That man had barely lost a game in his life.
Yeah, that's very true. He has been winning in almost every situation that he has been in. My next one, man, the Green Bay Packers have started off 2-0 to begin the season. They had a nice win over the Washington Commanders, 27-18. A great win over the Detroit Lions to start the year, 27-13. They've got the Browns coming up on the road. They got the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football on the 28th on the road. They got the Bengals coming into Lambeau, and they got to go on the road to Arizona in their next 4 games. Overreaction or not, the Packers are going to start 6-0, and they're going to run away with this division.
I don't think that's an overreaction at all, considering that after the first 2 games of the season, I consider changing my pick to Green Bay going to the Super Bowl. No, I don't think it's going to be overreaction at all, especially if Micah Parsons stays healthy. Matter of fact, forget stays healthy, when he gets healthy, because he's not healthy now. He's on the pitch count. So imagine when he's not on the pitch count.
Yeah, I don't think it's overreaction at all, because what I saw Thursday was like death looking me in the face. I did not like what I saw. I think this is a great team. And the reason I think it's a great team is, like you just said on Friday, LaFleur has a defense now. You know what I'm saying? LaFleur has a defense. This is a defense that is chomping at the bit. This is a defense that you got a maybe 50% Micah Parsons, who's on a snap count at that. He already has 2 sacks in the 2 games he's played. When he's fully unleashed and they start blitzing more, you've got these other guys on that defensive line who are going to, raise their level by playing with him. Is going to be great. Jordan Love, his confidence is rising. And I will say this about Jordan Love, and I think Jordan Love is way more Brett Favre than he is Aaron Rodgers. And the fact that he's going to give you opportunities to get it from him. The Lions and the Commanders just didn't capitalize, but he gave both multiple opportunities to pick off the ball or force a fumble. So I think that's always going to be a problem. But I do see growth from Jordan Love. Unfortunately, if I'm putting my non-biased actual football head, hat on right now, I see a lot of growth from him. The running game. Me and Mikey talked about this yesterday. With 30 seconds in the 2024 free agency, Ryan Poles signed DeAndre Swift. 30 seconds into it. Like, whatever. Say whatever you want about Saquon. Obviously, we saw from the hard knocks with the Giants, the Bears were very close to getting Saquon, but Saquon just wanted to go to Philly more than anything. I think it's because, obviously he went to Penn State. His wife is from the area. So I think that was a decided factor. Whatever. There's no reason you should have let Josh Jacobs go to the Ops.
And he wanted to come.
And he wanted to come. Yeah, he wanted to come in. So that is just terrible. And you see what Josh Jacobs has been the running back and no disrespect to Aaron Jones, what I'm about to say, right? Because Aaron Jones is great. And honestly, Aaron Jones is a really nice guy. I'm not going to put my man's business out there, but one of my homies, he FaceTimed me a couple years ago, and it was Aaron Jones on the line. And I, because he told him I was a big Bears fan, he was trying to be funny and shit. But Aaron Jones was a really nice guy. And I was so mad that he was nice. He's a nice dude. So this is no disrespect to Aaron Jones, what I'm about to say. But this is the best running back they've seen on this team since Corey Dillon. And we just talking about a pure running back, in my opinion. And that has just helped them out tremendously. It's going to continue to help them out. Look, bro, I'm looking at this schedule. They got the 4 games I just said after that. Then they go to Pittsburgh on my birthday, Sunday Night Football, to play the Green Bay, to play the Steelers, or is the Steelers coming there? No, it's in Pittsburgh. It's in Pittsburgh. So yeah, they're going to Pittsburgh to play Aaron Rodgers. I think they can win that. And not seeing Pittsburgh these first two games that makes me think they're going to be great. This is Scott was Turtle. Yes, that was me, Orlando. I was definitely Turtle in the episode of Brady on Entourage. He was like, "You yelled at Tom Brady, you asshole." That's how I felt when I talked to Aaron Jones. That 100%.
Or when I didn't get Nando's with damn snitches.
With Damson, yeah. And Gang was being too cool to not have Nando's with Franklin Saint. Then you got the Panthers at home. The Eagles is gonna be a tough game. That's gonna be a tough game, but that game's at the crib. You got the Giants on the road. You got the Vikings. Look, they got us twice, bro. I'm telling you, this could be a 13-4, 14-3 team. You know what I'm saying? To the point where they're gonna keep Philly on their toes for that number one seed. And I hate to say that. So I do believe that's why I go with the Detroit thing, why Detroit needed to win yesterday, because of not wanting to be too behind. Packers, I think the Packers, health permitting, are finna run it up. And that's scary for not just Bears fans, but for the entire NFC. So yeah, I don't think that's an overreaction. Final overreaction, we've been talking about quarterbacks. Daniel Jones has found a home. Daniel Jones has found a home. Daniel Dimes has found a home. Yesterday, a crazy game at the crib, a game that I know if you're a Denver Broncos fan, you're shooting yourself right now or being really, very angry at yourself for the way you lost that game off a penalty that let the Colts have another chance to win this when the Colts won 29-28 off a game-winning field goal. But let's go to the box score. Daniel Jones, 23 of 34, 316 yards passing, 1 touchdown. Jonathan Taylor on the ground, 25 carries, 165 yards. Do you think that Daniel Jones has found a home? Because he did this against the Broncos defense. Last week was whatever. They were going against the Dolphins. But he did this against the no-fly zone over there in Denver. Do you think that Danny Dimes has found a home, or is it too early for that?
I think I believe that it's too early. I am leaning towards the fact that he might have found a home. Because this is good. This might sound worse for the head coaching staff over with the Indianapolis Colts. I don't think they was prepared for Anthony Richardson, but they was prepared for Danny Dimes. I think that Anthony Richardson was too green for what they were trying to accomplish. And I believe that they have the right person in play when you talk about what Danny Dimes is available to do. I don't want to go as far as saying that this will be a situation like Sam Darnold. I'm not going to go that far. But I will go as far as saying that I feel like they found their at least their quarterback for now. But also shouts out to the ownership. I told y'all last week, I say it again, hey, them Ursay daughters ain't bullshitting. She the one Ursay daughter, she out there with
they got the headphones on, brother. They listen to the calls when they come in. Yeah.
Them like.
She is not playing around.
Nah, fam. She says, look, my daddy let loose. We paying attention over here. So
yeah, I was gonna say something even more wild, but I respect the dead, so I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. Yeah, but yeah, that is Overreaction Monday here on I'm Not Gonna Hold You. One of the best segments we've got on here, man. I know we talked about the Bengals already, but I want to just talk about it from a Burrow perspective. So Joe Burrow left the game early yesterday with like a third-degree turf toe, I think was the exact injury. And according to Adam Schefter today, he will be having toe surgery that is going to sideline him a minimum. Now, this is the crazy part right here. A minimum of 3 months, which doesn't mean it's a guarantee he's going to come back in 3 months. A minimum of 3 months. We ain't got to spend too much time on this, but my question to you, like, is more about Joe Burrow, man. And if they're like in his 5 or 6 seasons that he's been in the league, He's already missed the season because of tearing his ACL. He's had these different knee injuries. I thought this is a knee injury when I first saw him go down. You got to think about the long-term health here of Joe Burrow. And, the Super Bowl run they went on 3 years ago was 3 years ago. And it's going to be 4 years ago after this season's over because they're not going to go to the Super Bowl. What does it say about the Bengals front office, Bengals ownership, that they can't even protect their prized possession?
Man, this looks bad, but I ain't gonna front. I think this looks bad on Joe Burrow as well. Joe Burrow told them spend that money on keeping T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. And I feel like they could have let T. Higgins go and say that money and moved it elsewhere. Get some help on that line. You put yourself in a trick bag when you put all that money on skill positions and not on the offensive line. And if your star quarterback is telling you this is what he wants and you giving it to him, you got to put some of the blame on him too. So Joe Burrow, he's definitely one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL as well. So it hurts to see him not being out on the field. But at the same time, hey man, you got to put that money on not just your skill positions. You got to put it in front of you.
Yeah, I 100% agree. As a Joe Burrow fan, I'm very upset about this because I'm a big Burrow guy, and he's just super fun to watch. He comes off as a cool dude, but it's an indictment to the thing. Well, I think remember we was talking about maybe Ben Johnson won't come to the Bears, and we was talking about the Bengals. And I was like, at the end of the day, brother, the Bengals to the Bengals. They cheaper than the damn Bears, and that's what it looks like. The makeshift offensive line, the non-existent defense. How long they played in Trey Hendrickson's face all summer. This is just who they are. And if you're a Bengals fan, I'd be extremely upset because you're ruining the one prize guy we got on our team. So that stinks for them. I had Cowboys Giants on the rundown, but we already talked about them. So we're just gonna move on to our Monday Night Football preview. Today we have our first Monday Night Football doubleheader. And I said on Friday I didn't like the doubleheaders. I don't like the doubleheaders with the games on at the same time. These games are not on at the same time, so I'm perfectly fine with this. We've got first off in the first half of the doubleheader, you got the Bake Show, my man Baker Mayfield and Bang's NFC pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading to Houston to take on C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans. This game, man, the Bucs coming off a great win last week, a nice comeback win in Atlanta. And you just see somebody. We talk about evaluating quarterbacks and how you got to really have a great infrastructure in place. Baker Mayfield is a prime example of that. When he finally got into a great infrastructure, really I know we're going to give Tampa credit, and rightfully so. But the man I feel like we really need to be giving credit for this Baker Mayfield resurrection is Sean McVay. When Sean McVay brought him in as the backup in Los Angeles, and I think it was it Golf or was it Stafford who got hurt? I think it was Stafford who got hurt. It was
Stafford who got hurt.
Yeah, Stafford who got hurt. Baker came in for like a month, really held it down, and that got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers involved. And then at first, in the way that my man Bunny Colvin and the entire team, Liam Cohen before he went over there to Jacksonville. And can I say about Liam Cohen? Because people kill Caleb for just smiling on the bench. And by the way, when you're down 31 points and you did your job as a quarterback, I don't know what else the fuck you want me to do. When he goes on the sideline and pouts, y'all got an issue with that as well. But you can have a quarterback like Trick or Trev who, puts his hand like, fuck out my face, to Liam Cohen yesterday. And then you got a Bo Nix who's actually yelling at his Super Bowl winning head coach, Sean Payton. As much as I can't stand Sean Payton, I have heard nothing about either one of them incidents. Let Caleb even look his eye at Ben Johnson the wrong way. That's going to lead off SportsCenter. So I just want to point out.
Bo Nix ain't good enough to be doing that.
Yeah, Bomani Nix ain't good enough to be doing that. Trevor Lawrence, damn sure, ain't good enough to be doing that. So if that was Caleb, that'd be front news on Get Up. So I just want to point out the hypocrisy right there. But back to Baker Mayfield. Liam Cohen was part of the team that helped build him to where he is. Now, Baker is in my opinion, a top 6 quarterback in the NFC. Baker's that guy. He comes in the clutch. He knows how to win. He's won playoff games for this team. And he has become the quarterback that everybody in Cleveland wanted him and thought he could be. And I think that this is a team. The Texans are a team that got too hot too quick. And now we're seeing the issues with them. I think the Texans are going to struggle until CJ starts to be more accurate, until CJ knows how to read defenses, which has been a problem since defensive coordinators got film with him. And I don't think that's going to change much. I think he's going to have a better game today than he did last week against the Rams. But I got the Bucs. I got the Bucs in this one, and I got the Bucs by double digits as well. How you got this game playing out?
I got the Bucs big too. I mean, y'all know this is my Super Bowl pick. That defense for the Titans don't look as good as I thought it was going to look. CJ Stroud, like I said, the aura is no longer there. There's no aura when it comes to him no more. So I do got Tampa Bay winning this game, and I do got them winning by double digits.
Final game of the week 2 schedule in our Monday Night Football doubleheader will be the Oakland. Not the Oakland. I keep calling them Oakland. They should still be Oakland. But the Las Vegas Raiders home opener. This is the first home opener in the Pete Carroll Geno era. They had a great win last Sunday in Foxborough over Drake May and the New England Patriots. They will be taking on another 1-0 team division matchup here tonight. Justin Herbert in a 1-0 San Diego. 2 teams that should be in the city that they left still. The Los Angeles Chargers, aka the least cared about team in Los Angeles. That's the Los Angeles Angels are cared more than the Chargers. They are the least cared team about in that city. And then, yeah, Nick, you just said it. Jim versus Pete, people. Pete Carroll versus Jim Harbaugh. These two are not friends whatsoever. You want to see 2 old white men bicker? Watch this game. It already happened in the media this week. You know, this is going to be, I think, a very competitive game. I think this is going to be a game we're going to see, you know, is this really this? This is 2 teams right now that if you really want to be on the train of, the Chiefs are going to struggle a little bit. You're looking at 2 of these teams to make it hot because we already know Denver's going to be in it. If you have 4 teams and you have an AFC West that has not been really competitive in at least a decade, this is what you want to see here today. I'm on the train that the Chargers are going to make a turn. And not that I don't like the Raiders. I like Geno. I like Pete Carroll. I didn't want Pete Carroll to be my head coach because of his age, but I like him. And I think the NFL is better when the Raiders are good. Having said all of that, I got 2 road wins tonight. I got the Chargers going into Oakland. I'm going into Las Vegas, getting the dub. My man Jay Herbo balls out, and they're going to start the season 2-0 and put some real pressure on the Chiefs. How you got this game going tonight?
Hey, man, first of all, the rivalry is renewed. Pete Carroll versus Jim Harbaugh. I'm going to love to see that at the same time. Yeah, I got Jim Harbaugh on this one right here, too. I think that I have to believe. I know Courtney's going to be like, bang, no, you don't. I have to believe after last week that Jay Herbo turned the corner. Gonna have to believe that. With a running game. Ladd, McConkley over there as well. And that defense, and that's partly the reason why. That defense for the Chargers is why I believe that they're going to be better as advertised.
Looks real good.
So I'm going to go with the Chargers on this one.
Definitely should be interesting night, man. That is all we've got for y'all on this official morning edition of I'm Not Gonna Hold You. Shout out to everybody who watched. We'll be back on Friday at our usual 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central Time to get y'all ready. Recap Thursday Night Football. It's a pretty ugly Thursday Night Football game this week. I think it's Bills Dolphins. Yeah, I think it's Bills Dolphins.
We're back to the ass Thursday night games.
Yeah, they gave Amazon a gimme last week, but this one is not going to be good. But we will recap it. We're going to recap that. We're going to preview week 3. I think we're going to have a little baseball talk on here as well as we're getting closer and closer to the end of the baseball season. There's a new episode of High and Outside right now from Dante and Courtney if you want to check that out. We got 2 more weeks in the season for the best playoffs in sports, in my opinion, kicks off. And then Toaston's going to join us again. We're going to continue to talk about the hell that he's in as a Manchester United fan, as them bums lost again. And we're going to preview match week 5, and we're going to talk about the first week in the Champions League, how that went down, man. So Said 2-0, welcome to the bloodline. So we're gonna be talking about all that on Friday. So you know to follow me all social media platforms at Barberchair Scott. You can follow Bang at JR Bang on all social media platforms. Follow the Barber's Chair at Barber's Chair Co. Follow our partners H&B Media at H&B Media TV on Twitter and at H&B Media on Instagram. Follow the show. I'm not going to hold you at INGHY show on both Twitter and Instagram. And also subscribe to the Patreon, man. Patreon.com/Barbershop Network. If you're watching this on your big screen TV or on an iPad or whatever, take your phone up to the QR code, scan it. It will take you to all of the different tiers. You can subscribe on there as well. And when you subscribe, you get 25% off your first order on the Barbershop Network merchandise shop. It is getting colder. Well, not colder. I feel like we in the final stage of summer. So we actually got like a week left of summer. So we got I looked on the schedule, about 10 days of 80 to 90 degree weather. But after that, it's going to get a little chilly. So you might want to copy a hoodie. You know what I'm saying? Get you a hoodie, get you a long sleeve shirt. BCNetShop.com. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Same thing applies. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description box, man. Anything, Bang, you want to promote before we get up out here? I know y'all got a new First Black Champ up.
Well, I'm about to upload that audio right now. And then, we doing some dude this week, too. So, yeah, y'all tune in.
And I'm gonna get in the group chat today and ask when can we do summer sessions. We have a little schedule crisis going on right here, and my sleep schedule will not allow me to record so late anymore. So I have to figure this out. We ain't done one in a minute, so we will try to figure that out, man. But shout out to all y'all for joining, and we gonna holler at y'all on Friday. 79th and Hallis is up on all the podcast feeds right now as well. You want to check out episode 273. So for me, for Bang, we about here.